King's College.
They need to keep this alliance tight, and the US and the UK working together, I think, function extremely effectively on this. So this is, I think, keeping that special relationship special.
But on NATO, London and Washington disagree over US cluster bombs heading to Ukraine. Also, President Biden's refusal to cut a new free trade deal with the UK post-Brexit is seen very negatively here. Tom Rivers, ABC News, London.
First look traffic now, and here is Andy Farnsworth.
And we've got a crash on southbound I-15 affecting drivers heading from Salt Lake into Utah County. It's right at the point, got the right lane blocked, delays from the Bluffdale exit, but a clear up before you get to Timpanogos Highway. Plenty of northbound slowdowns in Midvale and Murray, and then we've got South 15 still clogged up a bit in Davis County, Layton, and Kaysville. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
The new Prime energy drinks are being looked at by some members of Congress. New York Senator Chuck Schumer wants the FDA to investigate, saying the advertising for the drinks targets kids.
YouTube stars Logan Paul and KSI founded the beverage brand. The drink comes in two forms, energy and hydration. But it's the energy version in neon-colored cans that has Schumer concerned for younger consumers. A 12-ounce can of Coke has 34 milligrams of caffeine. An 8.4-ounce can of Red Bull has 80. And a 12-ounce can of Prime Energy, 200 milligrams.
ABC's Allison Kosick says Prime's website does contain a disclaimer saying the drink is not recommended for minors, pregnant women, or those sensitive to caffeine. Shark encounters are on the rise at several U.S. beaches. ABC's Matt Gutman has been talking to marine biologists.
Climate change has warmed a lot of the waters around, especially the East Coast, but also off the coast of California here, which is changing shark migration patterns, shark feeding patterns as well. And they're coming closer to shore. And for some reason, the schools of fish and the bait balls that the sharks off the coast of New York specifically are going after are really close to shore. In addition, conservation has been working. It's not that it just seems that there are more sharks in the water. There are more sharks in the water. And we are seeing massive population explosions off the coast of California with juvenile great white sharks.
It's good to have that confirmed because I think sometimes we think, are there really more sharks or are we just hearing more about it? Gutman says New York reported 5 shark bites in just 2 days at some of the state's most popular beaches. And the state's now setting aside $1 million to buy shark monitoring drones. Health officials have a warning against another TikTok trend. The latest is called boat jumping. 4 people in Alabama died trying to jump feet first off of fast-moving boats. Experts say the water people jump into from a fast-moving boat is not soft and can break your bones. Coming up, we do have a multi-vehicle accident causing delays southbound I-15 from Bluffdale into Lehigh. Let's check that next on KSL News Radio.
Breaking news is just one ask away.
Playing KSL News Radio.
Police have now named the suspect. The planet's temperature reached its highest in 44 years. In your home, tell Alexa, play KSL News Radio. Then listen in your car at 102.7 FM.
Okay, it's hot outside and you need to cool. The new Air Compact appliances are up to 50% off retail. Yeah, life is about to get much cooler. At Warehouse B in Linden or at warehouseb.com, you're about to find out how much cooler. Either a new Air or Frigidaire room-size evaporative cooling fan starting at $49. Yeah, that's cool. Or the new 126-can glass door beverage fridge starting at $149. Even cooler. Or a 48-quart electric camping cooler with dual zone starting at $249. That's seriously cool. With Warehouse B, everything is factory refurbished right here in Utah and comes with a 1-year warranty. Want more savings? Warehouse B is loaded with scratch and dent models that offer the kind of value your family needs today. Visit warehouseb.com and grab a countertop nugget pebble ice maker starting at $199. Shop warehouseb.com or visit their outlet store in Linden off I-15 at exit 273. Warehouse B. Are you or someone you take care of as their caregiver living with Alzheimer's disease? This study just might be for you. Consider participating in a Athira's clinical trial exploring a novel repair and regenerative approach to Alzheimer's disease. Pantheon Clinical Research in Salt Lake City is looking for people with mild to moderate dementia, 55 to 85 years old. A consistent caregiver or support person is necessary for the conduct of this study. This study is a late-stage clinical study of an investigational drug for the treatment of mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease. Pantheon Clinical Research has over 30 years' experience with clinical trials. They conduct their business with professionalism, efficiency, and integrity. Contact Pantheon Clinical Research in Salt Lake City today. Again, call Pantheon Clinical Research today at 385-281-0550. That's 385-281-0550. Or go to pantheonclinical.com. That's pantheonclinical.com.
We hit 100 degrees yesterday. We'll be up there close, around 98 today. I didn't know until this morning that heat is the number one cause of death when it comes to weather-related issues. So we're reporting on that this morning, and we'll continue to here on KSL. 8:09 now. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy?
Amanda, right now, if you're going south on I-15, you've got big delays going into Utah County from the Bluffdale exit over Point of the Mountain. A crash blocking blocking the right lane and the right shoulder. The other lanes, including the HOV lane, are getting passed. So if you're eligible for HOV, you can actually do it with little to no delay. Everybody else is going to have to wait at least 5 to 10 minutes to get through the slowdowns. And then we've got northbound slowdowns between 90th up towards 7200 south, and some additional slowdowns between 33rd south and the I-80 turnoff in South Salt Lake. Heather?
Davis County drivers still have plenty of brake lights southbound I-15 between Layton and the Kaysville Ponds, and occasionally you see some slowdowns from Beck Street into downtown Salt Lake. Now, the earlier slowing we had on Legacy Parkway through Farmington, that appears to have eased up for the moment, but you may have lane restrictions in the area, so just use caution as you're traveling through there. Eric?
Got your usual northbound delays on Foothill Drive, trying to go from the mouth of Hartley's Canyon up towards the university area. The primary spot of slowdowns will be from 2100 south up to just before 1300 south before it kind of gets back up to a decent pace. If you're eastbound I-80 out to Kimball Junction, that looks good, but past that exit heading over to Silver Creek, you do have some usual delays there. We see that from time to time. The Zero Res deal is on today and tomorrow only, and get a fourth room free, 20% off odor treatments, and a free laundry service. Call for all the details. ZeroRes.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Plenty of sunshine statewide today. We'll have some breezy conditions as well. You combine those two things, and it means your temperatures are going to be high. We're going to see above average temperatures statewide. 98 for an afternoon high today with sunny skies. Sunny and 97 on Tuesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Brett Benson.
And right now, it's 80 degrees downtown. When we talked this morning with our reporter in London, he alluded to the fact that people in England and other parts of Europe do not understand what we're doing when we send cluster bombs to Ukraine. We're going to talk about that decision to send cluster bombs with Ika Jachi just ahead on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, your all-day companion for news. As if we needed any more motivation to shop at NPS, look at what they're giving away. Now, I shop at NPS for groceries. And I started it months ago when inflation was just killing me like it is everybody else. And you're thinking, how am I gonna keep feeding this family when food costs so much more? I started shopping at NPS and was blown away by how much I would save. I'd fill my grocery cart $50. How is that possible? Well, because every day, everything is 30 to 70% off at NPS. But here, look at what they're giving away. You can register to win one of 4 backyard barbecues, including barbecue grill, swimming pool, and all the fixins for 20 people, a $100 gift certificate to NPS. Just stop by any NPS store and register to win. Plus, you'll get a free book with every purchase that's at the register. And I'm telling you, they have, in addition to the 30 to 70% off that it is every day, they have additional flash sales at all of their stores. And right now, you can save an additional 50% off things like fashion jewelry and Pandora jewelry and purses and arts and craft and bedding. Do you need new sheets? Why not save an additional 50% off those? And at the industrial store in Salt Lake City, check out their pile of clothing that is discounted and discounted and discounted. I mean, you just should check there before you go anywhere else. And Orem and Layton has an additional 50% off fabric. So 4 stores. There are 2 in Salt Lake, 1 in Orem, and 1 in Layton. Shop NPS.
Hi, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Are you suffering from excruciating headaches, anxiety, and insomnia? You may be suffering from CMS, crappy monitor syndrome. That old computer screen from years ago could be the problem, exposing you to massive amounts of radiation frying your brain. At PC Laptops, we only carry screens that we've tested on our own eyeballs. Right now, purchase any PC laptop's desktop with an external monitor and get a free size upgrade. That's right. For example, if you buy a 22-inch monitor, you get an upgrade to 24 inches for no extra charge. Buy a 24, get an upgrade to a 27-inch monitor for free. We have brand new PC laptops desktop computers starting from $11.99 or $29 a month, backed by a lifetime warranty. And to make it extra sweet, we're doing 0 interest for a year on approved credit. So run into any one of our PC Laptops locations right now or check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. Because at PC Laptops, we love you.
KSL News Time, 8:14. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
just days after Salt Lake City police tracked down the suspect of a deadly hit and run, police are now looking for another after a man was killed while riding a bike on Redwood Road. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, the weather is hot, but the pool at the Deseret Peak Complex in Tooele County is being shut down because the pool is sinking and needs repair. Third, traffic and weather together.
Southbound 15 backed up at Point of the Mountain because of a crash on the Utah County side. Your delays start right about the Bluffdale exit, and it is a solid 10 to 12-minute wait to get into Utah County right now because of that. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Plenty of sunshine and hot temperatures. I'm Brett Benson.
And right now it's 80 degrees. Time for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Along the Hudson Valley north of New York City, severe, even deadly flooding over the weekend. Near the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, they're dealing with 8 inches of rain in just about 6 hours. One woman was killed when she tried to evacuate her home. Louisa Montefiore lives nearby.
It was extremely scary. I have never seen anything like this before. To just watch all of the water come running through my property, taking everything with it, and there was nothing that we could do.
Emergency crews say the focus today will be assessing which roads are passable so crews can check on homes where they haven't been able to get to yet. In other parts of the country, ABC's Andrea Fuji says it's the heat that's been breaking weather.
The Southwest is gearing up for a second consecutive week of 110-plus degree temperatures. Phoenix is expected to see highs of 115 degrees this week.
Naples and Miami, Florida, both hitting feels-like temperatures of 109 degrees this week. Heat-related emergency room visits nearly doubling in some areas. President Biden in the UK this morning ahead of the NATO summit this week. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has a preview.
At the heart of Biden's trip is the two-day NATO summit in Lithuania, where allies are divided over if Ukraine should become a member of the alliance. The president insists Ukraine is not yet ready to join while it's at war with Russia.
I don't think there is unanimity in NATO about whether or not to bring Ukraine into the NATO family now.
Another big question at the NATO summit is if there will be an agreement on Sweden joining the alliance. That has been held up by Turkey and Hungary, but President Biden is pushing hard for a deal this week.
The president also meeting with Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, and he had tea with King Charles along with private company leaders and climate experts. They are discussing new ways to jumpstart the clean energy economy. You're listening to ABC News.
The White House is defending the decision to send cluster munitions to Ukraine. Joining me live on the KSL Newsline is ABC News correspondent Ike Ajachi. I know some of our allies really disagree with this decision. Why did we do it, Ike?
Well, right now, White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby is actively defending the Biden administration's decision to send these controversial cluster munitions, and he's insisting that Ukraine will essentially seek to limit the impact of the bombs. So these cluster munitions, they're essentially fired on the position and they drop explosive bomblets over a wider area. The reason why that's a risk is because a lot of the times those bomblets don't explode, and they essentially turn into landmines that are sitting on the ground long after being fired, which could be able to be stumbled upon by civilians. Kirby is saying that Ukraine will limit the impact of these bombs in terms of the way they use them, and the fact that these specific cluster munitions that the U.S. is sending them essentially will have a very low misfire rate in that they say that a majority of them will be exploded and not there sitting on the ground, which causes those issues.
So did Ukraine request these cluster bombs specifically?
Well, they have been. They say that Russia has been reportedly using cluster munitions of their own on Ukraine for quite some time now, and that this, in fact, would help in terms of their current counteroffensive that they're going. Now, it's important to note that Kirby said that these cluster weapons, they're essentially just going to stop the gap. They're going to essentially use them right now until the Ukrainian forces are able to use their own artillery at a rate of many thousands around a day. That's going to take time to ramp up again. And they said this is essentially going to bridge the gap as they ramp up production of normal artillery shells.
Are they not worried about what you just described, about the creating basically a minefield? Because they're dropping these within their own borders, aren't they?
Yes, exactly. So and they say that these are essentially have the low fail rate. They do say that it's important to know that obviously civilian casualties are important, but nevertheless, when pressed at this, they kept reading the fact that they're defending their decision to send these. But it's important to know 120 countries, more than 120 countries, say they won't use these cluster munitions. Even our own allies like Germany, Spain, the UK. They reiterated they won't provide these weapons to Ukraine. Nevertheless, you're seeing even our allies provide some blowback to the United States for this decision.
Interesting. Thank you. ABC News correspondent Ika Jachi with me on the In-Depth at 15 and 45. 8:19 now. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Back to you, Andy.
Amanda, southbound I-15 still backed up going over Point of the Mountain. It looks like they've reopened the right lane of travel, although the emergency and crashed vehicles, the ones that are left, are still sitting on the right shoulder, so it's not completely clear. But slowdowns begin at the bottom of the hill near Bangor Highway up over the point and then finally start to speed back up again. We still have northbound slowdowns as well between 45th and 33rd South as you head towards downtown. Heather?
And traffic is below the speed limit. Southbound I-15 between Hillfield Road and Layton past the Kaysville Ponds. After that, you're mostly at speed into downtown Salt Lake. No real problems on Legacy Parkway or the West Side Belt getting to the airport. And city streets have a little bit of congestion in Ogden, especially on Harrison Boulevard. Eric.
Kind of crash reported eastbound I-80 at the Kimball Junction exit. If you're heading out to Park City this morning, it's actually past that exit where you've got slowdowns on eastbound I-80 approaching Silver Creek and to go south on US 40. And by the way, US 40 through the construction zone northbound from Jordanelle Reservoir up to the turnoff to go into Park City. That's using 248. That's also slowed this morning. I-15 northbound in Utah County, no problems there from Provo up to Point of the Mountain. Upgrade your countertops with beautiful quartz or granite. With Bedrock Quartz, it's only 7 days from template to installation with showrooms in Layton, West Jordan, St. George, and Pleasant Grove. BedrockQuartz.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
High pressure is building into the state, and with that, we have a pretty quiet weather pattern, but it's going to be sunny and hot this week. 98 today. With sunny skies, sunny and 97 Tuesday. About the same on Wednesday. We do have breezy conditions through the middle part of the week. By Wednesday, Thursday, those should begin to die down. Slightly cooler Thursday with a high of 93 under sunny skies. Sunny and 94 Friday, and sunny and 95 on Saturday. Upper 90s by Sunday with sunny skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Brett Benson.
And right now, downtown, beautiful morning, 80 degrees. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Well, this week is a big week for BYU football. It is Big 12 Media Days happening in Dallas. It takes place Wednesday and Thursday, and coaches and players from the new expanded conference will be meeting with the media. In fact, KSL's own Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte will be there. They'll have coverage for us starting on Wednesday. We are also planning a special 1-hour show on Friday, this Friday from 12 until 1, featuring Mitch and Matt and reporting on Big 12 Media Days, which is brought to you by Mountain Land Truck Outfitters. Coming up next, another check of the markets here on KSL.
Hey, this is Chris from JCW's. If anything rivals our burgers, it's our bacon. It makes the perfect combination with our guacamole, jalapeno, or our hickory barbecue burgers. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
Tim and Amanda.
You know, we've been doing this, 30 years, Tim? We know that the news can be heavy. We know that it can be difficult sometimes to listen to or understand. But that doesn't mean that we're supposed to live in that down place every day. We learn the news, we're educated so we can take care of our families. But then, you know what? We go out and have a good day.
Well, I think both of us come from the standpoint, and we have families. We have kids that are coming up at different ages. Yours are younger than mine. Mine are grown adults. But we always try and look for the bright side, I think, because we We all want to have that in our lives.
And it's there. There is a bright side.
There is a bright side out there, and so we look for those opportunities each day to hopefully send that message to you, even if it's not directly, in words, that at least in sentiment, things are going to be okay.
Do you know what I like to tell people? The news is the exception, not the rule. So if there's violence in the news, that's the exception. The rule is most of us are safe and happy and doing okay.
Amen.
Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Millions plan for retirement online. Estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
The name's Osborne, Josh Osborne, and I'm so excited to announce our 00 summer sale here at Volkswagen Southtown.
Summers are for thrills, chills, and hot deals. Get a new high-tech VW for nothing down and no payments for 90 days. Our 00 agents are standing by to make sure you pay nothing down and have no payments for 3 months, so you can achieve your top secret mission this summer.
Come see why we're Utah's #1 Volkswagen dealer. Get to VWSouthtown.com.
2022 VW ranking. Financing through VCI on select models OIC. See dealer for details.
Watching Utah's Money brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Eagle Mountain City Council is signing off on a new development plan for a planned community. The developer says the new community, called Firefly, is a master planned community designed around parks, trails, and open space. The U.S. is at risk of losing nearly 200,000 affordable housing units over the next 5 years. The Wall Street Journal says it's because a wave of 30-year tax credit agreements are set to expire, offering landlords the chance to charge market rates. More than 3/4 of travelers who've taken an overnight trip this year say they've experienced at least one travel-related problem. Those issues range from higher prices than they're accustomed to long waits, to poor customer service, and even canceled or disrupted plans. I was just reading this morning about what percentage of hotels in the United States are desperate for workers. When we went on a family vacation after my son's graduation, we had that experience where the hotel was just so behind on everything. And I had to have empathy because I think it's because they couldn't hire enough people to work the front desk or work whatever else. Anyway, let's get a look now at your money at this moment. The Dow is up 195. That's about 0.6%. We're at 33,930. The S&P's up 11. That's 0.25%. The Nasdaq up 19, which is 0.1%. Oil is down 10 cents this morning. We're at $73.76 a barrel. We do have big delays this morning southbound from Bluffdale into Utah County because of a crash there. We'll check that and the rest of your commute just ahead.
Hello.
Hi, I'm
Mr. Sparky.
What gave it away? The fancy tool belt? How about the big red truck?
Actually,
Yes.
you're on time.
That's our motto. We're on time. You'll see, or the repair is free.
You rhymed. That's cute. Are you always available?
24/7.
24/7.
Oh, I don't sleep much. So what seems to be the problem?
Well, my toddler plugged the dog into the light socket.
Yeah, I see your house is blinking like a pinball machine.
Can you fix it?
The house or the dog?
The house.
Oh, I'm Mr. Sparky. If it's electrical, I
You
can
can
fix
it.
You betcha.
From a small electrical problem to new lights to smart home services, generators to whole house surge protection, and everything electrical in between. Call America's on-time electrician. Mr. Sparky is fully licensed to install or repair any electrical work. Just call 888-8-SPARKY.
Hold on, this is where we bring in the singers.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
If you're struggling with your mortgage, there's a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
Utah roads. That's a bad one. Ouch.
Are in rough shape.
Why don't they fix that?
Join us for an in-depth look at Utah roads and why repairs are taking so long this year. Listen mornings and afternoons this week to KSL News Radio.
8:29, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. How's it looking, Andy?
Amanda, southbound traffic backed up over Point of the Mountain because of a crash that's affecting your drive into Utah County. The delays for southbounders begin at the Bangeter exit, and then for those 2-3 miles over the point, you'll be stuck in slowdowns. Some people, it looks like, are taking the frontage roads on either side. Right now, that looks like a decent option. But the main flow, again, only the right shoulder is blocked now, so all the main flow lanes are open, and we're starting to see traffic begin to move a little bit better. Heather?
We're at the slowest traffic for Weber and Davis County drivers is on southbound I-15 between Layton Parkway and the Kaysville Ponds. All the other major freeways are at speed right now. A few of the city streets have had some congestion, but mostly it's when the lights turn red at the larger intersections and you back up about half a block or so. Eric?
In Utah County, the city streets still getting a little bit busy now. University Avenue in Provo from 300 south at some of the major intersections, heading up towards the BYU campus. If you're on the University Parkway heading out of Provo, going up the hill and taking a turn to go into Orem, you see some stoplight congestion there as well. But northbound I-15 in Utah County is still looking good. 24 minutes from Spanish Fork up to Point of the Mountain. When it comes to trusted, affordable auto care, nobody does it better than Burke Brothers Tire and Service. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Let's get a look at that forecast. Hot. That's the forecast. Today it's going to be 98 degrees, and it will stay that way basically for the next 7 days. Maybe for the next month, if you just think about it. It'll be in the upper 90s most of the next week, just the lower 90s on Thursday and Friday. But right now, look what a beautiful morning it is. Lots of sunshine at 81 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 8:30. Tim has the day off. KSL's top story this hour. California Governor Gavin Newsom spent time in Utah over the weekend. Excuse me. KSL News Radio's Lindsay Aritz reports it's part of his tour to boost Democratic parties in red states.
His tour is called the Campaign for Democracy, and he launched it earlier this year, visiting the reddest of red states like Alabama, Arkansas, and Mississippi. Saturday night, Newsom was in Deer Valley with Utah's Democrats.
One thing that he has been really strong about has been pushing back on the sort of lies and fear-mongering from far-right Republicans like Ron DeSantis.
Party Communications Director Ben Anderson says the visit also helps motivate Utah Democrats going into a big election year.
One big thing that the party does, and one big role of the party, is to raise money to help elect Democrats. And so we also appreciate the governor's support.
Newsom has called some other red state Republican governors authoritarian. Lindsay Aritz, KSL News Radio.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox appeared on CBS's Face the Nation program over the weekend, and he spent a good amount of time talking about social media apps and their impact on kids.
There's not just a correlation between social media use and an increase in suicide, anxiety, depression, self-harm. There is a causal link there.
Cox says he suspects at some point the Supreme Court will weigh in on restricting youth access to social media, and Utah is planning lawsuits against social media companies. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we will go in depth on the governor's interview on Face the Nation. Just days after Salt Lake City police located the suspect of a deadly hit and run, they're now looking for another suspect in a new hit and run case. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
Police are now asking people between 5th South and Indiana Avenue to check their doorbell cameras and security systems to see if they caught what happened on Redwood Road around 4:30 yesterday morning.
We can try to see if they captured anything out of the ordinary or if they captured the crash itself. We'd love to review that information.
Salt Lake City Police spokesperson Brent Weisberg says they believe the 59-year-old man on a bike was killed by a vehicle driving northbound on Redwood. They don't know what kind of vehicle they're looking for yet, but Weisberg says be on the lookout for one with front-end damage. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
A group of hikers are being credited with being in the right place at the right time when they helped stop a brush fire from racing out of control. KSL News Radio's Alessandra Harris is live with more. Alessandra?
Amanda, these climbers were looking forward to an adventure in the southern Utah Hills area when they found smoke and flames and felt heat coming from the ground. The group began doing all they could to mitigate the budding wildfire, clearing smaller trees and smothering flames when they found what they thought started it all, a stack of fireworks. With more fireworks celebrations on the way this month, the climbers urge all Utahns to be smart by only lighting fireworks in controlled areas and calling for help if a fire starts. Reporting live, Alessandra Harris, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. President Biden is in London right now for a stopover visit before attending a NATO summit in Lithuania, where the war in Ukraine is expected to be top of the agenda. Biden will also be defending his administration's decision to send cluster bombs to Ukraine.
They're essentially lots of small bomblets, if you like, that are carried in an artillery shell or a rocket or a drone. This basically explodes in midair and it sends down those bomblets over a very wide area, so it can cause huge amounts of indiscriminate damage. A lot of these bomblets don't fire properly, so you have unexploded ordnance scattered over a huge area. Essentially, it creates like a minefield, and that is a huge issue for civilians.
ABC's James Longman reporting on the ground in Ukraine. In fact, I just looked up at the monitor a minute ago and saw President Biden getting back on the helicopter to leave Windsor Castle, his meetings with King Charles having concluded. He heads now, I believe, for the NATO summit. First look traffic now, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
And right now, we still have that slowdown on I-15 going into Utah County from the Salt Lake Valley. The crash near the point is all the way on the shoulder, so all the main flow lanes are open, but that right lane, people are still kind of edging over into the other lane to avoid the emergency vehicles that are still on the shoulder. The slowdowns go from Bangerter over the point, but they're starting to move a little bit more consistently now. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Devastating flooding is hitting parts of New York State. ABC's Mark Remillard.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul signing an emergency declaration for Orange and Ontario counties after heavy rains brought severe flooding on Sunday. Orange County Executive Steve Newhouse says some roads look like rivers.
I talked to the governor, DOT, everybody's working their hardest to get here. We're handling all the calls on a priority basis.
He says a woman in her 30s died trying to leave her home and was caught up in the floodwaters. Some parts of the valley saw 5 to 8 inches of rain, and more is forecast in the coming days. Mark Remillard, ABC News, New York.
The rainfall at West Point totaled more than 7.5 inches in 6 hours. A major landslide in Los Angeles County continues to threaten homes after a dozen homes were already destroyed when the hillside in Rolling Hills Estate gave way on Saturday. Los Angeles County Supervisor Janice Hahn toured the damage Sunday.
I've never seen anything like this ever in my career. To think that these homes were intact, yesterday afternoon, and today you can hear the creaking, the cracking, the crumbling, and they're going to fall.
Officials say no one was injured, but 16 people are now homeless. Some residents were only given about 20 minutes to evacuate. A drive in Utah known for delayed emergency responses just got a whole lot safer. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
Up until now, cell service has always been down up Logan Canyon, meaning car accidents couldn't be reached quickly. However, a new cell tower in the canyon will be going up as the first of a 3-phase UDOT project. KSL TV met with David Zook, a Cache County executive, and he says the ability to make emergency calls in the canyon will greatly help first responders.
There's a thing called the golden hour, that if you can get somebody to emergency medical care within an hour after a traumatic accident, that their chances of survival go way up.
Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
Slowing from Layton to Kaysville, but the biggest southbound I-15 delays are probably heading into Utah County. Let's check it next. Traffic and weather together coming up on KSL News Radio.
Start your day with all news in the morning. Then hear David Dujanovic talk about the biggest stories from 9 to noon.
Crashes every single day because of road rage.
A concern for Utah drivers.
Breaking news, important talk, all morning on KSL News Radio.
And now here's Growing Your Wealth, presented by Madrona Financial Services. Here's Brian Evans.
Today I want to talk about financial planning as it relates to our legacy. Now, certainly doing a financial plan for a lifetime is extremely important. Not only can it tell us when we can retire, what that retirement might look like, what our cash flow might be, our assets, how much cushion we have, and so forth. But part of that it also involves, for many of my clients, they want to know what their legacy looks like. They want to know what might be left to the kids, whether it's in trust or directly inherited by the children someday, or grandkids for education purposes or other legacy purposes, or to their charities. So those are the 3 main areas people want to know about. So part of that financial plan involves calculating all of that. A good financial plan does need to calculate a lot of things. I've seen many people do their financial plan and they brought it in, it's on a spreadsheet, and it really doesn't take into account maybe inflation or changes in tax law, increasing rates, increases to expenses for Medicare supplement in retirement, inflation, earnings properly, those kinds of things. things. So garbage in, garbage out, we got to get the right data in there. But certainly on the flip side, our legacy plan is really important to a lot of people. You know, they have to know that they're not spending too little. A lot of people might reserve their spending because they think there's not going to be enough left behind. And sometimes doing a plan, we can show them that there's going to be plenty for the purposes they want left behind so they can spend a little more freely during their lifetime. So when you do a financial plan, it's not just your cash flow and balance sheet we're looking at. Also, think about your legacy and what you want that to look like upon your passing.
Even the mightiest of trees can be blown over if they don't have strong enough roots. The same is true with your investment plan. Can your plan withstand a financial storm? Go to MadronaFinancial.com and click on the Get Started button to request your Rooted Wealth Analysis. You can also click on the chat button and ask us anything. We have a searchable library with answers to your questions. Visit MadronaFinancial.com.
What was Governor Gavin Newsom, if I could get it out, what was he doing here in Utah over the weekend? It was part of his Red State Tour, where he's visiting primarily Republican-dominated states, Alabama, Texas, Utah. We'll have more on that throughout the day here on KSL. 8:39 now, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. And back to you, Andy.
Amanda, southbound 15 going over the point. You still got that delay from the earlier crash that's slow between Bangerter Highway and the point itself. It does look like that maybe they've driven away the last of the vehicles that were on the shoulder, so that should help things out. North 15, still have that delay as you go from 90 south up towards I-215. You'll be a little bit below the speed limit. And now we've got backups on the ramp from northbound 15 to turn onto I-80 in South Salt Lake to go towards Parley's. Heather?
Reported in Weber and Davis counties, but we still have some slowing southbound I-15 between Layton Parkway and the Kaysville Ponds. That's just going to take a little bit extra time to clear out this morning. Once you get past it all, you're up to speed pretty much the entire way into downtown Salt Lake City. No problems on Legacy Parkway, US 89, or I-84 if you're going through the mountains this morning. Eric.
I-80 through the mountains, so Parley's Canyon, that looks good for eastbounders. Once you get to the Kimball Junction exit, we did have a wreck there right at the exit itself, but they've cleared that up. You still got just a touch of slowing between the Kimball Junction exit and Silver Creek. That is, if you're heading south to go on US 40, you'll take that Silver Creek exit. Northbound US 40, that is slow going from Jordanelle Reservoir up to the exit to go onto 248 if you're heading into Park City. I-15 northbound in Utah County, not seeing any troubles there. Immediate over-the-road driving positions open. Barrett Outdoor Living is offering a $5,000 hiring bonus. Apply at their job fair on July 17th. Barrett, 1277 North, 200 West in Nephi between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We had a few overnight showers along the Wasatch Front, really isolated stuff, mostly producing gusty winds. Those have moved into northeast Utah early this morning, and we're basically just looking for a lot of sunshine today with breezy conditions, 98 for an afternoon high. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Brett Benson.
Let's see where we are this morning. Right now, downtown, 81 degrees. Coming up in a moment, it was really an interesting conversation that our governor, Spencer Cox, had on CBS's Face the Nation yesterday morning. I'm going to share some of that with you just ahead on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, your all-day companion for news.
Boyd Matheson on the pitfalls of politics.
I think the biggest thing we all have to reject is the status quo. We have to reject the kind of politics that have been served up to us and that we've bought into. The biggest question for all of us is, what are we afraid of? And often what we're afraid of is losing power. Politicians often tell us, you can vote for whoever you want, but if you vote for someone other than me, you'll lose power, you'll lose influence. And we have to reject that. Our voting right is our most sacred and fundamental right. Vote for the best person, even if they're not in either political party. Some will try to convince you that's throwing your vote away and the evil, awful other side is going to win because of that. That's what they want you to believe. Because if you're functioning out of a position of fear, we all lose. You'll vote for the status quo, and that keeps the status quo in power.
Join Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Hi, Grandma. Can Nina come over for dinner?
Sure. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma!
If anyone ever does, I want you to say, no, I have too much respect for my family and I don't want to get in trouble.
I promise, Grandma.
They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
KSL News Time, 8:44. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Southern Utah climbers helped extinguish a wildfire started by fireworks before it grew out of control. I'm KSL News Radio's Alessandra Harris.
Second, a section of Highway 89 in Layton buckled yesterday in the heat, impacting the southbound lanes. Third, traffic and weather together.
And right now, if you're traveling into Utah County from Salt Lake Valley, you've still got slowdowns going from Bangerter Highway over Point of the Mountain. The crash that caused the delay is gone, but it's taking a bit for those slowdowns to clear up. We also still have southbound delays in Layton, Kaysville, and some coming into Salt Lake City in the Rose Park 600 North area. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny, breezy, and hot. I'm Brett Benson.
And right now, let's check our current temperature, 83 degrees downtown. Time for KSL's top national stories.
Heavy rain, 8 inches of it in just 6 hours north of New York City. Roads near the U.S. Military Academy at West Point flooded out. One woman drowned when she tried to leave her home and was swept away by floodwaters. More extreme weather in the south. It'll be very hot again in places like Texas and Arizona and Florida. Here's ABC's Andrea Fuji.
The Southwest is gearing up for a second consecutive week of 110-plus degree temperatures. Phoenix is expected to see highs of 115 degrees this week. Sweltering conditions are also expected to continue across South Florida, from Naples to Miami, where the feels-like temperature hit 109 over the weekend.
And in the last 2 weeks, heat-related emergency room visits have nearly doubled in some southern states.
Major landslide in Los Angeles County. A dozen homes in Southern California destroyed when a hillside gave way. President Biden in the UK head of the NATO summit in Lithuania. The biggest issue up for discussion, more weapons for Ukraine and whether to allow that country into the alliance. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox is getting some national airtime. Part of his interview on CBS's Face the Nation focused on Utah's first-of-its-kind laws that restrict social media access for minors.
What we're trying to do is give families more control over what is happening on social media. When you look at the new research that's coming out, there's not just a correlation between social media use and an increase in suicide, anxiety, depression, self-harm. There is a causal link there. And so we feel like we are on firm ground when it comes to the legality of what we're trying to do. But again, what we're trying to do is to allow parents and kids under the age of 18, an opportunity to have a little more control and making these social media companies turn off the algorithms that we know are driving so much of this harmful addiction and then harmful action that comes from this addiction to social media.
Cox says the state plans to sue social media companies for harm done to youth.
We are going to be pushing the social media companies to hold them accountable for what we believe is the intentional. Twitter, we're looking at all social media companies right now. In the coming months, you will see lawsuits being filed by the state of Utah to hold them accountable. We believe they've known about the dangers. Some of this has been leaked out. Meta and others, very clear evidence that they knew the harms that their products were causing to kids, and that they intentionally tried to hide that information, and of course to not make changes that are necessary to protect our kids, and so we're looking forward to having our day in court on that issue.
CBS's Margaret Brennan also asked Governor Cox about Utah's restrictions on transgender-related treatment and debate over allowing transgender kids to play high school sports.
What we were negotiating in the state of Utah was something that would allow some kids to play and others not to, depending on their physical capability.
We've been following, of course, that interesting reaction to Governor Cox's interview. And we're also watching on the monitors this morning as President Biden made a stop in London, speaking first with the Prime Minister and then heading to Windsor Castle and speaking with King Charles over there. We watched earlier this morning while the two of them inspected the troops, inspected the guard, those, red-jacketed guard with the tall black hats. They walked down the line there, greeting some of the members of the guard and inspecting. Then they met and talked about a number of issues, including the environment. The president is now headed to the NATO conference in Lithuania. The In-Depth at 15 and 45. 8:49 now. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. And back to you, Andy.
Amanda, that southbound delay quickly clearing up between Draper and Point of the Mountain now that the crash has been cleared. North 15, though, that seems to be pretty thick. Stop and go around 5300 south, and then a stretch in the right lanes from 3300 south to the I-80 turnoff in South Salt Lake. SR 201 delays have cleared and looks pretty good along Bangerter as well, other than a little bit of waiting at 9800 south in South Jordan. Heather?
You'll still see a few brake lights southbound I-15 in Davis County between Layton Parkway and the Kaysville Ponds, as well as you approach downtown Salt Lake City. But all of that is adding a minute at best to your commute, so not too many problems coming out of Ogden. US 89 Legacy Parkway, the West Side Belt, they're all at speed right now. And city streets are in pretty good shape as well, with no accidents reported. Eric.
All better at Point of the Mountain for I-15 drivers in Utah County northbound. From Springville to Point of the Mountain, that's a 22-minute drive. Southbound, we are seeing a little bit of slowing going by the Pleasant Grove Boulevard exit and getting over to the freeway, bunching up a little bit on 800 North in Orem for westbounders and eastbound, coming off of Redwood Road using Pioneer Crossing or 2100 North. In either case, you can expect some slowdowns heading over to I-15. Along the Wasatch Bank, US 40, plenty slow now through the construction zone, heading up to the turnoff to go on to 248 if you're going into Park City. Use Superior Water and Air for all your HVAC and plumbing needs. Call 974-9090 or visit superiorwaterandair.com. Superior Water and Air, we got this. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Get ready for a lot of sunshine and temperatures above average for a majority of the week. 98 today with sunny skies. On Tuesday, 97 sunny. About the same on Wednesday. We have some breezy conditions Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but those breezy conditions should die down as we get towards the middle of the week. By Thursday, slightly cooler, 93, 94 Friday, 95 on Saturday, 98 Sunday, straight sunshine. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Brett Benson.
And right now, downtown, look at that beautiful morning. That is a lovely, that'll help you be in a better mood on a Monday. Right now, it's 83 degrees downtown, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Debbie Dujanovic is back today. David Dujanovic coming up in just about 10 minutes here on KSL, and we will check money news just ahead. Stick around.
I have to admit, when I heard that Hale Center Theater was going to be presenting Newsies, I was really excited. My whole family, as a matter of fact. Dee and I caught the performance the other night, and it is terrific. The youthful energy is simply amazing. Song after song that you love, highlighting, of course, a wonderful story that we can all appreciate. The youthful audience, too, they were loving Hale Center Theater and the presentation of Newsies. But much more is coming up, too. Disney's Finding Nemo Jr., Catch Me If You Can, a murder mystery, Around the World in 80 Days, and Elf the Musical is going to take us through the holidays. All of that and so much more is waiting for you at Hale Center Theater. Don't be left out on Newsies. It is so much fun. Your whole family is absolutely going to love it. And all you have to do is go to hct.org and get your tickets now. That's hct.org, Hale Center Theater.
Fed Up Kitchen's newest location at 6181 South Highland Drive in Holiday, Utah's best local fresh meat prep company. Use code Cottonwood20 for 20% off your first order.
When words come out of our mouths and everything sounds fine, no one bats an eye. But if things come out a little jumbled or letters sound different than most, there's speech therapy. But did you know that speech therapy is used for more than just stuttering or disfluency? From articulation to expressive and receptive language to a simple act of swallowing that most of us take for granted, speech therapy can do amazing things for you, your health, and of course your sense of self. That's why Summit Speech Therapy is here. Summit Speech Therapy works with people of all ages, from infants and toddlers who have a difficult time feeding or eating, TBI, stroke, or coma patients, to children and adults with speech problems. So much of it is all related, and Summit Speech Therapy can help. Summit works with all insurance companies as well as private pay options, and the experience can be life-changing. With clinics up and down the Wasatch Front, including Murray, with no long waiting for an appointment. For more, visit summitslp.com. That's summitslp.com.